My name is Darren Pritchett, joined by Mike Singer, Notre Dame football recruiting insider, Blue and Gold Illustrated, blueandgold.com. And Mike joins us for a second time today because now we have a verbal commitment to talk about in the 2023 class. Offensive lineman Joe Otting from Topeka, Kansas, has said yes to the Fighting Irish. Mike, offer a perspective on Notre Dame's recruitment of Joe Otting.
I'll be honest with you, Darren. Came together pretty quickly. Offensive coordinator Tommy Rees went to Otting's high school May 4th. Liked what he saw in Otting working out. Offensive line coach Harry Heastand offered him later that day. Notre Dame kept in contact throughout the month of May. Had him on campus for the Lineman's Challenge camp this past Saturday. Otting did well. I don't know if this is the right term, but got the green light of sorts to go ahead and lock in that commitment. And here we are. I mean, not a big CBS ceremony, no, big hoopla. I mean, hey, it's an offensive lineman. Just get the commitment done and move on. So yeah, that's the gist. I mean, you can go back and look at, he visited for a game last November. Analyst Dre Brown, who's a key part of the Notre Dame recruiting department, found him and at the time I would say a diamond in the rough prospect. Invite him to invite him to a game. Otting visited, Catholic kid, loves Notre Dame, and then when that opportunity came about that Notre Dame would be offering Otting, I mean, poor Kansas State and Iowa. I mean, yeah, good luck beating out Notre Dame for a Catholic offensive lineman.
Mike, I'm wondering, we had Jeff Quinn as the offensive line coach, and now we have Harry Heastand. Of course, everybody who follows Notre Dame football knows about Harry's ability to develop offensive linemen to help Notre Dame win and also get those players ready for the National Football League. I know it's still very early on in Harry recruiting once again at Notre Dame, but are the reasons why people are picking Notre Dame from offensive line groups a little different between Jeff Quinn and Harry Heastand?
I think the correct answer for me to say for Notre Dame fans is to say Jeff Quinn stunk and Harry Heastand is the best thing ever. And look, I'm going to be true to who I am, and I liked Jeff Quinn as Notre Dame's offensive line coach. I said this so many times. I'll let people talk about him as a X's and O's coach and all that stuff. I'll let them do that, even though when Notre Dame is not running the ball really well, it's only Quinn's fault and not Tommy Rees or Brian Kelly. That's a different discussion for a different day. The guy could flat out recruit. I mean, Joe Alt, Blake Fisher. I mean, yeah, those guys committed to Notre Dame under Jeff Quinn. Most of the 2023 offensive linemen that Notre Dame's recruiting, Jeff Quinn was also recruiting. That's something to point out. But so as far as like differences, not a ton. I will say Harry Heastand is a more effective recruiter in my opinion. When the guy recruits, and he has been killing it since he got back to Notre Dame in January, guy's been after it. I'm just not on the, let's throw Jeff Quinn under the bus all the time bandwagon. That's just not me. But Harry is definitely taking Notre Dame, maybe not to a next level, because again, Quinn did a really good job, but it just seems like most of the guys that Notre Dame wants on the offensive line, they're getting.
Yeah, Mike, I was actually kind of thinking about the Heastand reputation might be a reason why some of these guys might be picking Notre Dame, but that was a terrific answer you gave on how well Quinn was recruiting for the Fighting Irish. Now, I know in past years, Harry has put together 5 starters on the offensive line, and all 5 were high school offensive tackles. He gets the best 5 players on the field. Otting's kind of unique because he's an interior offensive lineman in high school now, correct?
He is an interior offensive lineman, and he projects on the inside. I would say Sam Pendleton from North Carolina also projects on the inside. So Otting gives Notre Dame 3 offensive line commits in this class. He got Sullivan Absher, who is a tackle all the way. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And then, so Notre Dame took 5 offensive linemen in the 2021 class, 5 in the 2022 class. It looks like they're going to take 5 again this cycle. It's just a position Notre Dame recruits so well. It's hard to turn some of these guys down. So I like Notre Dame to land Charles Jagasaw from Rock Island, Illinois, Alaman High School, I believe it is. And I also like Notre Dame to land Elijah Page from Phoenix Pinnacle. So Page was listed at 6'5", 280, which you see that. She's like, man, is he a guard? Like 6'5", 280. Got updated height and weight from Page's official visit to Notre Dame this past weekend. Close to 6'7", 305 pounds. I'm pretty sure that's Joe Alt right now. Right? Joe Alt's about 6'7", 305. So, and that's Elijah Page going into senior year of high school. So that looks to be my projected 5-man Notre Dame offensive line class right now, and let the pundits debate which offensive line class is best on paper between 21, 22, and 23, just to be able to have that discussion shows how good Notre Dame's recruiting on the offensive line.
I heard that Joe Alt guy's pretty good.
Hey, he's all right. You know what? I've never met Joe Alt. Never met Joe Alt. It's a shame. Never met Joe Alt. I mean, Steve. I love Steve Angeli. Freshman quarterback. I think I've seen him I just saw him. Yeah, I just saw him 2 days ago at Notre Dame. I saw him driving by. Hey, Steve. But I never met Joe Alt.
As the head of the Joe Alt fan club, you think you'd have a Rolex watch by now or something.
It's a darn shame. Got to get on our treasurer for that.
That's right. Hey, just as we kind of wrap things up here, talking about the 23 class, can you offer just an overall perspective, what you like about the class, the strengths, just the way this coaching staff has put this group together?
Yeah, on the lines. I mean, football's won and lost on the line of scrimmage. I mean, I really like Notre Dame's offensive line class so far. I think Sullivan Absher's got first-round pick written all over him. And obviously the defensive line with Keon Keeley and Brennan Vernon and Boubacar Traore and Devin Houston is fantastic. You got a couple of really good linebackers committed, and Preston Zinter and Drake Bowen. Still work to be done. Like we talked about, I believe it was last week, Darren. Quarterback, cornerback, and wide receiver. So how does Notre Dame finish out there? What about running back? Do they land, Jeremiah Love from St. Louis, a big-time back, or maybe even Richard Young, the 5-star from Florida? So definitely it seems like 2024 recruiting, we're talking about a ton right now with, potentially Notre Dame getting CJ Carr later this week and Irish Invasion with having so many big-time 2024 players. And you have to remind yourself, oh yeah, Notre Dame has probably its biggest recruiting weekend of the year, June 10th through 12th, with so many big-time 2023 players on campus. So June is going to be blistering hot for the Fighting Irish.
Can I ask you a wild card question to wrap things up?
I love a good Darren Pritchett wild card question.
Oh, okay. Well, be ready. Obviously, CJ Carr is the big news coming out of Irish Invasion. Player or two that also caught your attention or made some head waves by being on Notre Dame's campus?
No one comes to mind for the 2023 class. There was a Western Michigan defensive back commit, long kid. Kawan Davis, I believe his name is. But
you can go 24 if you want.
I would think it, maybe not because he was on campus, but I would say Anais Williams, of 2024 running back, who was really off the radar of major colleges a month ago, I would say. Maybe not off the radar, but he didn't have many offers. Now he's got Alabama and Notre Dame offers just in the past 4 or 5 days after camp performances there, and I thought he looked fantastic over the weekend. There's a couple underclassmen quarterbacks I really liked, but might be a moot point at this point. Yeah, there were definitely some. I was blown away with the talent at that camp. It exceeded expectations.
Okay, good nugget right there. So how can we spend $1 wisely right now?
Head to blueandgold.com. Darren. I mean, plenty of stories up on Joe Otting's commitment, what might be around the corner, previews for upcoming recruiting weekends, all that kind of good stuff. And then the team, Tyler Horka, Patrick Angle, Todd Burla, Josh and Pollard do a fantastic job keeping you up to date with everything happening with the Notre Dame football team. So, yeah, definitely head to blueandgold.com. $1 for 1 year premium access.